My name is Michael Murphy. I'm CEO of DVL in Philadelphia, and I'm here today to talk about noise in computer rooms with the new configurations using in-the-row cooling designs. We can begin by asking why my colleague, Gary Hill, is standing in a newly built computer room in front of a competitor's in-the-row cooling unit wearing ear protection. Let's look into the matter. The information I am discussing today is found on the OSHA.gov website, and specifically in the OSHA Technical Advisory Manual. The information in these slides is footnoted so that you can go back to it later and explore for more information on this subject. The OSHA standard that applies is CFR 29, section 1910.95, titled Occupational Noise Exposure Standard. Within the Technical Advisory Manual, there is some straightforward advice about how to identify when you might have a noise problem in your computer room. If your noise level is above 80 dB, room occupants standing next to each other and talking have to speak very loudly. When the noise level is between 85 and 90, they have to shout at each other, and when the noise levels are greater than 95 dB, they have to shout directly in each other's ears to be heard. OSHA is concerned that levels of noise above 85 dB may cause hearing damage and potentially behavioral problems. Hence their concern about regulating noise exposure in the name of worker safety. Let's examine how OSHA regulates noise exposure. First, a walk-around survey is required to screen for noise exposure, noting any condition that matches or exceeds the criteria discussed on the previous slide. If you're having trouble hearing in your computer room, you will need to conduct a noise survey. OSHA regulations state that if you have suspected exposures of 80 dB or more, then a noise study should be performed. OSHA requires a sound meter, but you need to account for the fact that they look at the accuracy of the sound meter. Typical meter accuracy is stated as plus or minus 2 dB. So if you have an 83 dB level measured, you're in jeopardy of having OSHA require that you meet the 85 dB level threshold. An 85 dB environment will require your company to implement a hearing conservation program per section C through N of standard 1910.95. You will need to audit your exposed employees and look for signs of hearing deterioration. The specified program is a very strict protocol that determines whether or not hearing damage is occurring. And if your room exceeds a 90 dB threshold, you must take preventative measures to protect the hearing of exposed employees. Now let's take a look at some in-the-row cooling units currently on the market. In particular, let's look at units from competitor A. Their model, ACRC 100, provides 2900 CFM of air and has a published noise on their website of 78.1 dB. The larger model, ACRC 500, provides 6900 CFM, quite a bit more air, and produces 81 dB at full load. The new Liebert chilled water CR040RC produces 3325 CFM of air and 70 dB, which is a substantial difference from the competition. When you're using multiple cooling units, how does a single unit noise specification impact your OSHA noise considerations? When you have multiple units, noise dB addition can be very complicated since dB is a logarithmic scale. However, OSHA publishes and accepts a simplified method as detailed in the chart on this slide. For instance, if a 0 to 1 dB difference exists between two adjacent noise sources, you should add 3 dB to the louder source. Note that 3 dB represents an approximate doubling of the perceived noise level to the human ear. The example here illustrates combining a 70 dB source with a 73 dB source. Per the chart, this is a 3 dB difference, therefore you add 2 dB to the higher level of 73, and the result is a 75 dB combined level. You may combine noise sources in any sort of order. Here's an example from the OSHA website which shows combining 4 different noise sources with different sound pressure levels of 88, 86, 80, and 85 dB. The combined result is a 91 dB noise level. Let's analyze the in-row coolers beginning with 4 ACRC 500 units installed in close proximity. For the first 2 units, a noise spec of 81.9 plus 81.9 dB gives you a difference of 0. So in accordance with the OSHA chart, we add 3 dB to the total, resulting in an 84.9 dB combined sound level. Adding a third unit, we start with 84.9 dB and add the third unit's 81.9 dB source. The differential was 3, so in accordance with the OSHA chart, we add 2 dB to the highest number, yielding a result of 86.9. Adding a fourth unit, the differential between the 86.9 dB and the new unit's 81.9 dB is 5 dB, and per the OSHA chart, we add 1 dB for a 87.9 dB total. This greatly exceeds the standard for instituting a hearing protection plan and is getting very close to the threshold of noise that is required to provide hearing protection for employees working in the room. Now let's examine the ACRC 100 noise addition. Using the same methodology of the last slide, we arrive at 84.9 dB total. Clearly, you would be at risk if you did not establish a hearing conservation program to meet OSHA standards in a room with 4 of these units. Finally, let's take a look at Liebert's model CR040 noise addition. Using the same methodology of the last 2 slides, we arrive at a 76 dB total. This is clearly well below the OSHA standard. When considering that noise is a logarithmic scale, this results in less than 1/2 of the level that triggers an OSHA walk-around evaluation. Some final thoughts are in order. Published dB numbers in this study are all open field measurements taken at a distance from 6 feet from the unit. However, in a computer room, we do not have an open field. These rooms are typically a very echoic environment because of the number of hard surfaces from which sound will reflect. This may enhance noise addition, reinforcing the noise level within a room. Therefore, these calculations state the best case numbers and are not conservative estimates. If you are building or renovating a computer room, you should be considering noise as a design issue. Specifying or purchasing in-the-row cooling units other than Liebert's may establish an OSHA noise problem within your facility. Thank you for your time. Please send us an email at noise@dvlnet.com or give Mike Rinaldi a call at DVL. His phone number is 215-826-1146 to receive a PDF copy of this presentation, complete with speaker notes for further study. And if you would like to learn more about DVL, please visit our website at www.dvlnet.com.